Once upon a time, there lived two friends named Welty and Kamen. They were friends since they were in school and had not seen each other for a long time. Until one day, they ran into each other in a shopping mall. They were surprised and happy to see an old friend again. They began to tell each other the stories of their lives. Welty told the story of his fabulous life, in which he had plenty of time to spend with his family, which he could afford because he never had any problems with his finances. Plus, he had the freedom to pursue his hobbies and be engaged in social activities. While Kamen spent his days punching the clock, having no quality time to spend with his family, and his meager salary was spent paying more goods and the various installments, on top of an ever-increasing cost of living. Seeing his friend's pitiful condition, Welty shared a lot of input with his friend. He also told him the story of a boatman who became successful without having to trade his time for money.
Once upon a time, there lived the village chief, who had a beautiful daughter. Her beauty was such that all the young men in the village fancies her. Ari was the name of the girl, given to her by her parents. Of all the young men in the village, Ari only set her eyes on two of them. One was called Brito, and the other, Bodhi. It was their spirit and ambition that really impressed her. Time passed, then season changed, until one fateful day, a terrible disaster struck the village. A mighty earthquake had split the village into two parts, separated in the middle by a wide and deep river. The village chief and his family was now on the western bank of the river, while the two young men, Brito and Bodhi, were on the eastern shore of the river. The two young men started to make raft in order to cross the river to see Ari. They did not realize that this raft brought them something unexpected. They began to make money crossing the villages who wanted to see their families to the other side of the river. Time passed, and by next year, Ari will be 18 years old. According to the village tradition, a girl is entitled to choose her suitor when she reached the ages of 18. Ari was so distressed, but could not make up her mind as to choose between Brito or Bodhi. Seeing the dilemma of his daughter, the village chief finally declared a contest. Whoever managed to collect 1,000 taels of gold within 1 year will be entitled to marry his daughter. 1,000 taels of gold was not a small amount of money there. Brito and Bodhi was so dizzy to find the way to collect that amazing sound. They couldn't imagine the thousands of crossing they had to make for 1,000 taels of gold to materialize. They worked harder and competed to cross more people in order to make the 1,000 taels of gold. As days went by, they became smarter. Now, they were not only building rafts but boats to accommodate more people in one crossing, thus increasing their income. Brito realized that he could not work alone like this forever. After spending some time calculating, he decided that he could never come out with that sound tails of gold crossing people to the other side. After giving some thought to the matter, Brito decided that he would build a bridge, connecting the two halves of the village, and he would make money by doing that. Brito believed that by building the bridge, he was not only have the 1,000 taels of gold, but he would never have to row his boat again, forever. Brito set his heart to build the bridge that he had drawn, although he encountered strong opposition and ridiculed by the villagers, who told him that building the bridge was a crazy idea, a wasted time, and he would never make any money. While building the bridge, Brito still continued to cross people with his boat, because he realized that his bridge had not yet been completed and still to yield the single cent. By day, he was crossing people with his boat, and by night and in his spare time, he was building his dream bridge. While Bodhi's income had now increased by crossing more people, with his great energy, he could do more crossing in a day than Brito. His lifestyle began to change, and every day he wasted his money indulging himself. Winter had finally arrived. Brito finally finished to building his bridge. The opening day of the bridge was greeted enthusiastically by the villagers. The price of crossing the bridge was much lower than the paid fare charged by the boats. Moreover, it was much safer crossing the bridge than a boat rides which carried with it the risk of sinking. Brito Bridge functioned very well, and every day people paid to cross. Brito income began to pour in stably. He only needed to build the connecting pipe to let the money streaming into him. Naturally, this led him to be the first to collect the 1,000 taels of gold required by the village chief. Meanwhile, Bodhi's income dwindled every single day. More so as the winter approached and the water of the river turned to ice. The villagers would much prefer to cross the bridge that Brito had built. There was no risk of sinking, and it wasn't slippery even when ice was present. Now even Bodhi's strength began to fail. He pushed himself too far. Poor Bodhi, he traded all of his time for money, and now even he could not use his strong body for work. The expression on his face began to change. Now autumn had arrived, and Brito's dream finally came true. With confidence, Brito went to the house of the village chief to ask Ari's hand in marriage. Finally, Brito and Ari lived happily ever after, enjoy financial freedom, time freedom, and prosperity forever. Bodhi finally realized that he had not made the right decision by continuing to rely on his strength to accumulate money.
After listening intently to the story, Kamen was beginning to think that he too was doing the same thing that Bodhi did. All this time, he was trading his time for money. Arriving home, Kamen still pondered Welty's word. Before going to bed, he made the decision to follow Welty's advice, that is, to make a smart move like Brito did. What about you? Which method do you prefer? If you are still unsure, try answering the following questions. Do you possess an income that flows continuously for 24 hours without you actually having to work for it? Are you relying on strength alone, or do you have a right system to produce money? Does your income continue to flow after you are gone? Can you quit work anytime you choose without sacrificing your income? Should you for any reason be out of work now, can you survive for the next year without a job? If you cannot say yes to all of these questions, then please contact or get the following DVD, Smart Idea by Freedom FaithNet Global, from the person lending you this DVD.